All right, so we're going to be talking about CJ So Cool's suspects. We're going to be reacting to this court appearance. Now, this is going to be part 2. So if you guys haven't checked out part 1, definitely go check it out. We released it a couple days ago on the channel, maybe a week ago, something like that. So this is going to be part 2. We're going to be reacting to this court appearance. Now, just be mindful. There could be other court appearances after this one. We're going to be reacting to those probably over the next couple days. So this is probably like several days after this court appearance, which looks like there's several of these court appearances. It looks like these suspects have been indicted several times. I think this might be the third. This might be the second or third superseding indictment, because obviously there was more victims. So anyways, let's check out this. Let's listen to this.
Presented a change of circumstances on record to have those conditions changed. So what I'd like to do is talk about what was presented to the Justice of the Peace that resulted in this bail setting, and then what is additionally available, if anything.
I don't believe I would be competent to speak to what I did not handle either of those particular hearings.
Okay.
And so I would hate to. I don't want to make any representations that are incorrect.
Okay.
I can request transcripts from those, and I can advise the court in candor that. Well, I shouldn't. I don't have any additional representations.
That's okay. Okay. So in general, then, what changes have been made since the bail was set by the Justice of the Peace?
Your Honor, just that I as far as, again, I don't know what was presented to the Justice of the Peace, so I apologize for not being prepared on that point. But that there has been the evidence that was.
So just to keep you guys somewhat informed, I mean, it seems like the bail for a lot of these suspects has gone up, because it looks like there might have been additional charges because there's more victims. I think in part 1 we talked about 2 or 3 victims, one of which a lot of them were like severely beaten up and then duct taped. So it seems like it was pretty violent. So it seems like the bail for a lot of these suspects have gone up. But I think what we're about to listen to is actually one of the suspects is actually going to get released. But I wanted to actually listen to all the details, or you guys can listen to the details as well.
Presented to the grand jury in an indictment that has ensued that shows the text messages between defendant Jackson and McDuffie leading up to the home invasion event at Tranquil Peak. This is where the victim was shot twice in the legs. And we have text messages between defendant Jackson.
So he's talking about CJ So Cool now and the exchange of text messages. So it seems like they knew who CJ So Cool was, because at times throughout this, like I said, there's like so many of these like court appearance videos or whatever. It seems like at times it appears like it's random, or at least I think it appeared like it was random. But at times they're talking about like details as it relates to CJ So Cool and the suspects, I guess, exchanging text messages referring to his address. So seems like at times it's random, and at other times it seems like it was targeted, like CJ was targeted, and maybe perhaps they were like, you know what, let's target all these other homes in that same community.
Jackson and defendant McDuffie, in which defendant McDuffie is stating to defendant Jackson, condolence, we're hitting CJ So Cool house tonight. CJ So Cool is the moniker of the victim on YouTube. You ready, cuz? All black, hit you up tonight. Defendant Jackson then asks defendant McDuffie to pick him up, and then he sends his own address to an address immediately adjacent to his home to defendant McDuffie, which defendant McDuffie then shares with defendant Roberts, who is driving the suspect vehicle that is seen going to and from the residence, and in surveillance video outside the victim's house showing the 4 suspects approaching and leaving. And for the court, those 4 suspects will be
So I think he just said that there was actually some kind of camera footage or something like that. Let's repeat that one. And I think Jackson might be the younger one, the younger suspect. If I'm not mistaken, I think he is the younger one. But let's repeat this one. Because I thought I heard him say that there was camera footage of the 4 suspects.
To defendant McDuffie, which defendant McDuffie then shares with defendant Roberts, who is driving the suspect vehicle that is seen going to and from the residence, and then surveillance video outside the victim's house showing the 4 suspects approaching and leaving. And for the court, those 4 suspects will be defendant McDuffie.
So it sounds like there was footage, because he said outside the victim's home, which is
the residence, and then surveillance video outside the victim's house showing the 4 suspects approaching and leaving. And for the court, those 4 suspects will be defendant McDuffie, defendant Jackson, defendant Gayosa is an uncharged co-conspirator who's still in juvenile court proceedings, and defendant Roberts.
all right. So he said the 4 suspects, but I don't think Raven is one of them. Hold on. He said the 4 suspect names. He said one of them was in, I guess, minors court or something like that.
That's approaching and leaving. And for the court, those 4 suspects will be defendant McDuffie, defendant Jackson, defendant Gayosa is an uncharged co-conspirator who's still in juvenile court proceedings.
Juvenile court proceedings. So McDuffie, Jackson, and this 3rd individual who's in juvenile court proceedings, and then the 4th one is
and Roberts.
Robert. So that's Derek Roberts. So there's no mention of Raven Queen. So it seems like Raven Queen was working remotely at that point, or she wasn't even on foot. She was just basically calling the shots, directing people, according to what I've heard so far.
And I would note that at the grand jury returns, I do know the district court judge, Judge Jones, was advised that both defendants, McDuffie and Jackson, their custody status, the release terms that they had been issued in justice court, and then after being advised of the facts underlying the case, issued the bail amount that we were having them in at now. And if that court had maintained the bail setting that was at, we would have filed a motion to address bail in this court.
So it's your representation that these texts that were presented to the grand jury are something that was obtained later in the case, in the investigation?
That I don't want to speak to that. I don't know if that was represented to the justice court or.
Okay.
I
I also did see in the justice court minutes something about it was continued for filing, and so maybe I don't know if it was a kick out or if it was just continued one day and the bail was set. I didn't have the minutes, and I was trying to get some information from you about that, but it sounds like I don't know who was present at that time.
I believe it was District Attorney Walsh, but I will verify and double check that.
Okay. Would we be able to get a transcript of the proceedings in front of that justice of the peace before, if I continue this to Wednesday?
I will request them, and I request that they be expedited.
So they want to continue this on for Wednesday. I'm not sure what date that is, but I suppose the following week, which by the time this video reaction comes out, that might be already past due, because this is going to be part 2, and part 1 we already released, like I said earlier, a couple days ago or a week ago. So the dates will be off with my reaction to this.
Because that's my only question really left in this case is whatever was known then, we're stuck with that. And if there's a situation where you have more information, I need to know that. But if not, the bail should have transferred. And so I want to see that transcript so that you can make
I'm not sure what's the big deal with this bail. it's not like they can afford a lower bail anyways. They keep, they're raising the bail. It doesn't seem like it's clearly understood or clarified why the bail keeps going up, with some suspects not getting additional charges. Some have gotten additional charges, so the bail does make sense for it to go up. But even if the bail was reduced to a smaller amount, I don't even think any of these suspects could even afford the smaller bail amount. So it's just like there's this whole conversation back and forth about this bail.
Whole argument on that, and I'm going to continue this till Wednesday to get that transcript.
Your Honor, I've been here for an hour and a half, and I want to make a record. And I don't want to wait till Wednesday. Everybody else has made a very detailed record, and I should have the same chance to do that. And I can answer your questions, because the text messages were in the original arrest report long before the grand jury met. All right? Sean is in a different position than everybody else.
So this is the attorney for Jackson, for one of these suspects, Jackson. This is the, like I said earlier, I think this is the 16-year-old. I think that's what he was about to say.
16 years old. He was granted an OR with high-level monitoring. What did he do when he get out? Well, he went and lived with his aunt, and his aunt's here, and his uncle's here, and his mom's here, and they've been to every court appearance that he has had. He's born in Las Vegas. He lives in Las Vegas. He's not from LA. He's been working. He wasn't causing trouble. He wasn't a danger to the community, and he wasn't fleeing. He was out. He was doing well. Now, let's talk about the grand jury. So when the criminal complaint came down, he was charged with 7 felonies, all D felonies. They go to the grand jury. The first indictment comes down. He still has 7 charges, but now 5 are felonies and 2 are gross misdemeanors. So Mr. Ports has been here all day talking about transfer and, well, the charges went up or there was more charges, so
he's pretty much grilling the prosecutor right now, in a nutshell, really. He's just grilling him because he doesn't. So Jackson's attorney is like confused as to why the bail keeps going up when the charges went down or remained the same. So why does his client, in this case, like I said, Jackson is the 16-year-old, why does his bail keep going up? And he didn't really contribute as much as to this whole crime like the other suspects and defendants. His contribution is relatively smaller in size, so he doesn't understand why the bail keeps going up.
The bail. On Sean, the charges went down. And knowing that the text messages were out there before, they were in the original officer report, and his charges went down, there's no reason the bail should have been raised in this case. He was not one of the people that ran to California. He was not one of the people that you saw in Barstow. He was not one of the people that barricaded themselves for 2 hours. He was not one of the people that destroyed evidence. He is he's charged with allegedly 1 event. Not 5, not 10, not this whole thing. 1 event. And he's been in Las Vegas. He was out, doing well. His charges went down, yet his bail went up. Now, I don't know how you explain that when Mr. Ports has been sitting here saying, well, we got more charges, so the bail has to go up. His went down, and his bail still went up. I don't think we need to wait till Wednesday. The text messages were there in the original police report that we got. He needs to be put back on that same bail, OR, with high-level monitoring, and let him out as he was before. He wasn't causing trouble. He wasn't rearrested because he was out creating more crimes. He was out arrested because grand jury's secret, return is secret.
So this suspect was only at 1 event, I guess 1 crime incident or whatever, 1 burglary. I don't know what it is, but it's 1 event, whereas the rest of them all, they've been doing this. It seems to me like maybe Raven or whomever is like really in charge of this whole criminal activity is recruiting a lot of these like children, really, these teenagers, 16-year-olds and, minors, juveniles, basically, to do this kind of dirty work. And it's just like, man, this is just like, it's so bad. Like the fact they're putting these 16-year-olds in this position early on in their life where they're getting charged with felonies and misdemeanors, just ruining their life, recruiting them all for what exactly? What are they going to benefit out of all this? They're going to have a criminal record. They're going to be jacked up pretty much for life. Some of them might actually go to prison. It's crazy.
And we had no idea this was going to happen. And I believe that's all I got, and I'm sorry for raising my voice, but in his case, this is really a travesty of justice that his charges go down and his bail goes up. $250,000. I don't know it well. I don't personally know any 16-year-old that can come up with $250,000. When I was 16, I sure couldn't. Maybe Bill Gates could have, but other than that, he was out, he was doing fine, charges went down, bail went up, makes no sense. Thank you.
Mr. Quartz, do you have anything to rebut what Mr. Patrick said today as you stand here regarding change in circumstances?
I don't understand.
I'm going to reinstate the bail that was set by the Justice Court of your release on high-level electronic monitoring.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just high-level electronic monitoring. It's house arrest.
All right, so it looks like Jackson has been, he has been released on house arrest. I mean, I think somebody from the family, somebody in the background was asking, I guess, for clarification as it relates to what type of monitoring it is, and she clarified it and said it's house arrest. So looks like the 16-year-old has been released at the time of this court appearance for house arrest. Let's repeat it again.
By the Justice Court of your release on high-level electronic monitoring.
Thank you.
High-level electronic monitoring, which I guess is house arrest.
Just high-level electronic monitoring. It's house arrest. Page 31.
So that is the 16-year-old. So what do you guys think about this? Him getting released on high-level monitoring, basically house arrest. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think that was a good decision or a bad decision? I mean, and when you put things into perspective, yeah, I mean, he has lesser charges. It seems like he wasn't really doing this on a regular basis. It seems like this is only a one-event situation, which, like I said earlier, it seems like they're recruiting or targeting these teenagers, 16-year-olds or younger, to conduct these crimes, which is pretty sad. But if you're looking at it from a criminal perspective and you are the victim of this event, I think, I guess I'm on the fence. It's half and half. One side of me feels they should be given another opportunity. They were probably just influenced, brainwashed to do this kind of criminal activity for whatever reason. Maybe they're not, in a good financial position, their families. Who knows exactly the reason why? Some people do things because they're forced to do it or they're influenced to do it. But another side of me feels like they should be charged with the same crime as an adult. If they do the crime, they should do the time. I mean, it's just that simple. But again, like I said, I'm 50-50. I'm on the fence on either side. But let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think it was fair for him to get released? Or do you guys think that he should be charged, and treated the same way like all the other individuals, regardless of the number of events? It's just like stealing. If you steal $1,000, you should be treated the same way for stealing, $1 million, because it's still considered stealing at the end of the day. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching.